Edwin Hubble. We are stardust, but one habit is hindering you. Get rid of it. Long before social media feeds and endless streams of notifications cluttered our daily lives, there existed an era when a single monumental discovery could seize the collective imagination of humankind. It was an era of telescope domes perched atop remote mountains, of countless nights spent peering through thin air at faint glimmers of light. In that era, one astronomer stood out as a pioneer who redefined our place in the cosmos. His name was Edwin Hubble. He shattered the boundaries of our known universe, proving that the Milky Way was just one galaxy among countless others, and that the universe itself was expanding. But behind these cosmic revelations, Hubble harbored a simple observation about human potential, an observation that, in his own words, confronted a singular, deeply ingrained habit preventing people from realizing that they themselves were made of stardust. We often see Hubble as the discoverer of galaxies beyond our own, the man whose work ultimately laid the foundation for the Big Bang Theory. He began life in the late 19th century, born in Marshfield, Missouri, in 1889. Early on, he showed a fascination not just for the night sky, but for the power of questioning everything. Even as a child, he dared to wonder if the stars were truly as close as they appeared, or if the darkness between them might harbor uncharted realms. This curiosity stayed with him, guiding him through a path that combined intellectual rigor with a deeply held sense of wonder. Hubble's family moved around when he was young, eventually settling in Chicago. There, he developed diverse interests. He was tall, athletic, and excelled in sports, particularly basketball, while also nurturing an intense love of reading. When he entered the University of Chicago, he originally studied law, influenced by family expectations. But the call of astronomy proved too strong, leading him into the science that would define his life. After a Rhodes Scholarship at Oxford, where he studied Roman and English law, Hubble returned to the United States and decided to pursue a career in astronomy, feeling drawn to the mysteries of the night sky. Back then, many astronomers believed the Milky Way encompassed the entire cosmos. Nebulous patches of light, called spiral nebulae, were thought to be mere swirls of gas within our galaxy. But Hubble was skeptical. Working at the Mount Wilson Observatory with a 100-inch Hooker telescope, the most powerful telescope of its day, he set out to determine the true nature of these nebulous forms. Were they distant island universes full of their own stars or clouds of cosmic dust within the Milky Way? Through meticulous observations, he discovered that the Andromeda Nebula housed stars similar to those in our own galaxy, including a type of variable star that could be used to calculate distances. His calculations revealed that Andromeda lay far beyond the supposed boundaries of the Milky Way. This was groundbreaking. It confirmed that our galaxy was but one among many, forever expanding our concept of the universe's size and scope. Hubble pressed further. By examining the redshift of galaxies, he uncovered evidence that the universe itself was expanding. These insights paved the way for cosmology as we know it. Yet while Hubble recast the universe as something vaster than anyone had imagined, he held a quieter belief that never made the headlines. He believed that human beings, themselves composed of cosmic material, were unwittingly constrained by one particular tendency, one habit. This habit, in his view, limited our ability to see ourselves as part of the grand tapestry of existence. He wrote snippets about it in personal letters and diaries, though he rarely spoke about it publicly. In his words, "We are stardust, each of us shaped by the same processes that shape the galaxies, yet we cling to a narrow vantage that fences in our perspective." The story of Hubble's search for this limiting habit begins with his experiences at Mount Wilson. Perched high above the bustle of Los Angeles, the observatory offered some of the clearest skies and best conditions in the world. The telescope's dome would loom above him each night, a cathedral for exploring cosmic wonders. Night after night, as he peered through the eyepiece, he realized that every star was a marvel of nuclear fusion, converting basic elements into heavier ones, the same elements that compose human bodies. This realization electrified him. The swirling galaxies that drifted in the cosmic darkness were forged from the same fundamental building blocks we find in our blood and bones. He saw humans as literal offspring of the universe, bits of stardust that had become self-aware. But in everyday life, Hubble noticed people seemed more bogged down by petty anxieties and trivial pursuits than moved by this cosmic heritage. He himself was not immune. Life in academia was full of ego battles, time wasted on small disputes and societal pressures. He started to believe that a single habit, the habit of forgetfulness of cosmic wonder, as he sometimes called it, was what truly hindered humanity's capacity for on growth. He observed that we humans so easily forget our cosmic lineage. We rise each day, attend to our tasks, fret over minor inconveniences, and rarely pause to consider that we dwell in a vast universe billions of years old. He believed that the single habit blocking many of us from a fuller life was the reflex to live in an insular bubble, neglecting the perspective that, at our core, we are literally starborn. In short, we sabotage our sense of wonder by focusing our mental bandwidth on ephemeral worries. If that sounds abstract, Hubble argued it had very real consequences. He noticed that when he spoke with young astronomy students, they began with a spark, excited by the new frontiers they might explore. But as courses grew more intense, they slipped into rote memorization, deadlines, and competition with peers. The original wonder that ignited their studies faded, replaced by mechanical routine. This, Hubble believed, mirrored a broader societal trend, a slow drift away from the very sense of cosmic awe that can fuel creativity, resilience, and personal transformation. He wrote that if people could free themselves from that habit, from the impulse to be trapped in mundane self-absorption, they might awaken their cosmic identity. Doing so, in his view, might unlock reserves of imagination, empathy, and optimism. After all, if you genuinely sense that you are stardust, connected to the fusion fires of stars and the expansion of galaxies, your day-to-day setbacks might seem more surmountable, your sense of purpose more profound. Hubble's focus on this habit of forgetfulness is the catalyst for our tale. Let us delve deeper. It is easy for us to hear that we are stardust as a pleasant metaphor, but in Hubble's mind, this was an empirical fact. Astronomy demonstrated how heavier elements formed in stellar cores, then were ejected in supernova explosions, eventually merging into new star systems, new planets, and, over eons, life. This cosmic cycle meant that each person on Earth carries within their body atoms forged in ancestral stars. Now you might be wondering how this cosmic perspective could practically alter someone's life. Is it just spiritual poetry, or could it tangibly reshape how we behave? Think of how your worldview changes when you adopt a zoomed-out approach. Minor irritations like traffic jams, petty workplace conflicts, or fleeting setbacks might lose some of their sting if you remember the cosmic backdrop. This sense of perspective in Hubble's thinking was not about detachment from responsibility. Rather, it was about an anchor that tethered one's identity to something vastly grander, making day-to-day anxieties less crippling. Here's a question for you to consider now. Do you ever pause in your daily routine to recall that your body's atoms were once part of ancient stars? And if so, how does that perspective affect your mood or decisions? Feel free to reflect on this in the comments, because it reveals whether we are truly harnessing our cosmic heritage or letting it slip by unnoticed. We continue Hubble's story. By the early 1930s, he had cemented his reputation. He traveled to conferences, addressing packed lecture halls where he recounted the evidence for galaxies beyond the Milky Way and an expanding cosmos. Audiences were often stunned, grappling with the notion that creation was far more immense than previously believed. And yet, while people marveled at these cosmic revelations, Hubble observed that many returned to their lives unchanged. Some might exclaim, "What a discovery!" only to remain locked in the same unproductive or stress-fueled behaviors as before. It became clear to him that knowledge alone was not enough. The single habit of ignoring our cosmic identity was so deeply ingrained that even spectacular data from telescopes did not always penetrate people's day-to-day consciousness. After all, habits form the bedrock of how we navigate existence. A fleeting moment of awe seldom suffices to rewrite neural pathways honed by years of routine. This realization led Hubble to adopt certain personal rituals aimed at maintaining cosmic awareness. He would often step outside on a clear night, whether in an observatory or near his home in San Marino, and gaze at the sky for a few minutes before bed. This was not a scientific observation session. It was a deliberate act of wonder, a reaffirmation that he was part of something immeasurable. On cloudy nights, he might open a book about ancient star myths or recall earlier observations. The point was to ensure that cosmic reflection remained woven into his daily life. Hubble also believed that if people consistently exercised such cosmic reflection, be it through stargazing, reading about astronomy, or simply contemplating the origin of their atoms, the deeper potential of humanity could unfold. He speculated that many societal problems, from narrow-mindedness to rampant materialism, might ease if humans collectively recognized their cosmic unity. The habit of self-centered forgetfulness, he insisted, was not an inescapable fate. It was a cultural norm that could be reversed. Let's think about that in modern terms. We live in an era brimming with distractions. We frequently scroll through our phones, chase ephemeral goals, measure success by fleeting metrics, or get sucked into disputes that ultimately amount to very little in the cosmic timescale. Hubble might argue that these behaviors are symptoms of the one habit that hinders us, forgetting we are stardust. Because if we truly felt that cosmic bond, we might reorient our priorities. One letter from Hubble to a fellow astronomer, Walter Baade, touches on this theme. He recounted how one night he found himself frustrated over bureaucratic delays in obtaining photographic plates for the telescope. Anger welled up. It felt like a crucial observation might be missed. But then, stepping outside, he saw the dome of the observatory silhouetted against a sky rich with stars. He wrote, "In that moment, all vexations faded. I realized we do not chase these details for their own sake, but to understand the cosmos from which we arose." The pettiness of daily squabbles melted into the quiet hush of those distant galaxies. In that hush, I heard only the echo of how improbable and miraculous it is to be alive at all. Such reflections deepened his conviction that the greatest obstacle was not scientific ignorance alone, but the mass tendency to slip into an enclosed mental space, cut off from cosmic reality. He lamented that schools often taught astronomy as a set of facts without planting in students the seed of wonder that might spur genuine change in lifestyle and thinking. As time passed, Hubble continued his research, classifying galaxies by their shapes, ellipticals, spirals, barred spirals, and refining distance measurements. The accolades poured in, but he stayed humble, having glimpsed the immensity of the universe. Privately, he hoped that humanity might someday collectively discard the habit of forgetting our cosmic nature. We are stardust, he would say, but we hamper ourselves each day by failing to remember it. Now, let us pause for a second question, roughly at the midpoint of this narrative. Is there a practice you have tried, whether stargazing, quiet reflection, or something else, that helps you recall you are part of something vast? And if so, do you feel it changes how you interact with daily stress or personal goals? Consider sharing your experiences or intentions. Because if we do not remind ourselves, we risk letting Hubble's insight go to waste. Returning to Hubble's later life, we find him continuing to refine his cosmic distance calculations. He discovered that the farther a galaxy is, the faster it recedes from us, a relationship now enshrined in what is known as Hubble's law. This paved the way for the Big Bang Theory, which posits that the universe began in a primordial explosion and has been expanding ever since. Although Hubble himself did not publicly endorse any single model of the universe's origin, his data laid the groundwork for others, like Georges Lemaitre, to propose those radical theories. The cosmic stage was set, and humanity found itself part of an ever-expanding drama. Hubble recognized the staggering implications. The universe, far from being static, is a dynamic entity. Stars are born, live, and die, forging new elements. Galaxies collide, merge, and evolve. In every direction, cosmic processes continue to sculpt the matter that eventually becomes planets, ecosystems, and living beings. We truly are stardust in motion, participants in an unfolding cosmic story billions of years old. To Hubble's regret, the broader public rarely integrated these discoveries into their personal outlook on life. While newspapers reported on them with sensational headlines, the average person might treat the cosmic expansion as an abstract curiosity, not a call to reevaluate one's priorities or sense of identity. In private notes, Hubble admitted that he wished astronomy could be taught in a more experiential, soul-stirring manner, so the knowledge of cosmic origins would permeate hearts, not just minds. He also faced personal challenges. Though revered as a top astronomer, he often felt overshadowed by other scientific minds, such as Einstein. He navigated intense scientific rivalries and disagreements. Health problems arose, and in his final years, he suffered from a cerebral thrombosis that led to a stroke. Yet, even in the face of physical decline, Hubble retained his cosmic perspective. Friends and colleagues recall how he would speak softly about the galaxies he had studied, urging them to remember that the atoms within their very hands were once birthed in fiery stellar cores. Those near him sometimes reported that they felt a kind of peaceful radiance around him. Not because he had no difficulties. On the contrary, he dealt with the frustration of unfulfilled ambitions and the bureaucracy of scientific institutions. But by maintaining that cosmic vantage, he seemed less likely to be consumed by the trivial. His diaries, rarely disclosed to the public, suggested that he drew solace from the knowledge that life's everyday dramas were fleeting moments in a cosmic saga. While Hubble passed away in 1953, his legacy continued to expand with each new generation of telescopes. The Hubble Space Telescope, named in his honor, launched in 1990. From its orbit high above Earth's atmosphere, it captured breathtaking images of galaxies, nebulae, and star clusters. These images, pillars of creation, the Hubble Deep Field, the Whirlpool Galaxy, brought cosmic grandeur into everyday headlines, inspiring millions. And with each dazzling image, the message Hubble had hoped to convey surfaced again. We truly are stardust, living amid a universe of unimaginable scale. So, how do we break free from the habit that Hubble believed constrained us? For him, it was not enough to read about astronomy once and exclaim, "That is amazing." We need to adopt ongoing disciplines of cosmic reflection. This might mean stepping outside on a clear night, turning off our phones, and letting the magnitude of the sky envelop us. Or reading about recent astronomical discoveries, not as remote trivia, but as revelations that transform how we see ourselves. Or meditating on the star-born nature of our bodies, seeing daily obstacles in the context of cosmic time. Hubble believed if we replace the habit of forgetfulness with a habit of cosmic recollection, a chain reaction could occur. Our empathy might widen, for how can we hold on to trivial anger when we share cosmic heritage with all others? Our creativity might flourish, for tapping into the cosmic story can stir imaginations in ways we can hardly predict. Our resilience might deepen, for many short-term problems lose their dominance once measured against cosmic realities. He also suspected that real personal growth requires confronting our illusions of permanence. Many of our daily anxieties revolve around clinging to fleeting possessions, statuses, or desires. Recognizing we are stardust can free us from those illusions. Everything changes, everything transforms, and we are part of that transformation. Instead of viewing life as a frantic scramble to achieve or accumulate, we can see ourselves as co-creators in a cosmic dance, more likely to cherish each moment. Hubble's viewpoint was not purely philosophical. He saw how, in astronomy, a small shift in perspective can change an entire field. For centuries, people assumed the universe was static and unchanging. A single reevaluation of data, redshifts, distances, revealed a reality no one had suspected. So, too, he posited, a single shift in personal perspective can trigger a profound reevaluation of how we live. That shift is remembering that your body's carbon, calcium, iron, and the rest trace back to dying stars. Imagine how many anxieties might melt away under that realization. Bills still need paying, tasks still need doing, but a cosmic vantage can bring equanimity to the hustle of modern life. Perhaps that is the real habit we must cultivate, the daily recognition of our starborn identity. Hubble, who spent so many nights capturing faint starlight on photographic plates, was intimately familiar with how the ordinary can contain extraordinary depths. The same is true for us. We appear as ordinary individuals, but within us are atoms that once pulsed in the hearts of stars. As we inch toward the end of this tale, let us circle back to the idea that Hubble is reminding us. We are stardust, but one habit is hindering us, the habit of forgetting it. Even if we intellectually know we are star matter, we seldom let that knowledge penetrate our actions. We fail to cultivate daily wonder, fail to root ourselves in cosmic perspective, and remain entangled in self-centered loops. Think about your life right now. How often do you choose to dwell in cosmic wonder, even for a minute a day? Could you make it a ritual, glancing at the sky each evening, or reading a snippet about deep space before turning off the lights, or visualizing stellar nucleosynthesis when you sip your morning coffee? Such small acts might reforge your identity in line with the cosmos. The same cosmos Hubble showed us is more expansive than any prior generation imagined. As we approach a conclusion, let us pose one last question. If starting tomorrow you integrated a simple cosmic reflection into your daily routine, just a few breaths of gratitude for being star matter, or a short look at the sky, how do you think that might alter your sense of purpose or your outlook on personal challenges over the long term? Consider sharing your aspirations or reflections, because in doing so, you might further motivate yourself and others. We have traveled through Edwin Hubble's life and glimpsed the cosmic scale he unveiled. We have seen how his crowning discoveries reconfigured humanity's place in the universe, revealing a cosmos teeming with galaxies. Yet behind all this, we found a man who believed our potential is constrained by a single, stubborn habit, living as though we are separate from, rather than integral to, the cosmic drama. In the end, Hubble's genius was not simply in measuring distances to galaxies, but in recognizing that bridging those distances reveals something about ourselves, that we, too, are part of the star-forged tapestry. So the next time you feel stuck in a rut, anxious about the trivial, or dwarfed by daily demands, remember Hubble's whispered admonition. We are stardust, but one habit is hindering you. Let that habit slip away. Let cosmic wonder sweep in. By doing so, you might unlock a breadth of imagination, serenity, and empathy that you never knew was possible. And perhaps, just perhaps, if enough of us heed Hubble's advice, the human story will ascend to new heights of wisdom, mirroring the cosmic expansion he so brilliantly observed. After all, the universe is not static, nor is the human spirit. Both are capable of ceaseless growth, if only we allow ourselves to shed the shackles of forgetfulness and stand in awe of the galaxies that gave us life.